Welcome back to SportsKhabri. Thank you so much for joining us again. We are heading into the Asian Games. Our women's football team is all set. They are on their way to China. I would like to welcome both Sandeep and Shaggy to SportsKhabri today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Going directly into the first question, first thought on the squad.
I think it's a squad that's come from previous tournaments mostly. We're not seeing a lot of new faces here, albeit that whatever the issue could be over there, it's an opportunity for a team that's played together, knows each other pretty well, can play to their strengths. There is a lot of chemistry that's within the team. A lot of them have played at the club level during IWL as well. So the team is all right. The team looks sharp. I've been seeing them quite frequently because they've been practicing here in Bhubaneswar. So I'm lucky enough to drop in and watch them practice. And I think from the day they started back in July till up till now, they look really sharp and they look really good as well. Physically very fit, tactically a lot more sound. But again, we're talking about two very strong opponents in Taiwan, Chinese Taipei, and Thailand. So yeah, we'll have to see how they all come together as a team and perform there.
Yeah, so when I looked at the squad, my first thoughts were, where are the goals going to come from and who is going to be the defense? Okay, because I think when you come out, we have like our opposition to many extent have not been very strong teams, but this time around in the Asian Games, we are going to face strong teams, and that's where the defensive aspects I was, looking very carefully. But I think Sweetie Devi is there, Asha Lata Devi is there, and I think the couple of players that are pretty much, starters for their teams in IWL. The good part that I see is that now we have a lot of bench options as well. So we can, Coach Denerby has a lot of options on the bench. And there are a couple of players who are still, are coming from the under 17, Astam especially. She has made a real good progression from the under 17 World Cup last year to a senior team, which is quite commendable in my opinion. So I think what Denerby has done is picked up a squad where he has worked with certain players for a period of time. He has seen them progress, and those players are actually finding their places in the squad. So it looks to be a squad which has been thoroughly screened and presented like moved forward. So it's a little organic. It's not like we have taken the I mean, it's over a progression over a time, as Sandeep pointed out. So it's good to see that in Indian football. Normally, otherwise, it's always we don't know what these players are doing for quite a long time of the season. But this time around, I think I can track that at least from the last year what each of the players has been through.
Can we also talk about the coaching style of Coach Thomas Denerby? He has also received ample amount of time with these girls. They have been practicing together for some time, unlike what happened with the men's squad. How will that impact our performance? And overall, if we look at Thomas Denerby's evolution as a coach in India, if you can talk about that.
I was tracking Denerby from his tenure during the Nigeria because his first big assignment was Nigeria, where he did really well to push them into a good ranking. He worked with them, and then he actually came down to India. And his work with the under 17 team with the tenure that he has is quite commendable because he actually got a very less time in that sense. But I could see that in the under 17 World Cup that he did really well with the defensive aspects, like especially considering that we were facing the likes of US and other top teams. We played out comfortably. We defended well. There were a lot of players who were in under 17 that needed to step up, but they took their time. And Denerby is a coach who gives time. That's why the players are more happy. It at least comes from the number of camps that he has done from the past 2022 and this year 2023. Quite a long duration of camps, and there is an overall that the players have a little bit more positive confidence going into bigger games. So the exact formation, I am not sure what he is planning to play because frankly I haven't seen him play an opposition like Chinese Taipei or Thailand, who are obviously one of the top teams, considering that in the last AFC Cup, they were one of the possible candidates for going to the FIFA World Cup. So it's going to be a little bit of surprise. I don't expect Manisha and especially Jyoti to start upfront because they would be coming from international travel and other club duties. But expect a very good formation in terms of defense more than attack. That's my thinking.
While we are at Manisha and Jyoti, they will be available for both the group stage matches.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah,
Yeah,
they're gonna
they'll
join up
go.
with the squad directly over there.
Good part is the Asia games are falling in the FIFA window. So I don't see them, and that's the critical aspects because the Asian games and the Paris qualifiers are both falling in the FIFA window. So we shouldn't be seeing any problems with our international players at least.
Yeah.
But considering that they did not spend time at the camp with the other players, how will it be for them to come and adjust in this existing team?
I think at the start of the camp, Jyoti was here for a while, and uh, the, at that time, Thomas was still trying his combinations, permutations, everything, and he was trying to get the team together because it was a larger group at that point of time. But Jyoti somehow fit in, and I think Thomas knows exactly what to do and how to use her. Manisha is a no-brainer, really. I think she's, arguably the best player we have right now. And all my biases for Sweetie aside, I still think that Manisha is doing extremely, extremely well. And there are some really good players that are already in the squad. And there's Anju, of course, up front. There's Sandhya. Then, but Manisha knows that she's a very smart player, and this experience of having played at Apollon is going to give her a lot of confidence coming into the national team, which I hope translates into the national team, uh, into her national team performances. Because at the end of the day, these are players who play for the India batch. Uh, they for them, for the girls especially, I can say that this is really their ultimate ambition to play for India. So. With the experience that both Jyoti's been in Zagreb for 2 years as well, don't forget, and she's been doing extremely well. Soumya as well, Soumya Gogulot, she would have done, like, she's also improved a lot. When you see these girls in training, you understand there is a bit of chemistry, there is a bit of bonding that's happening because you have very solid players in the midfield. You have Sangeeta there who can sort of manage the game from the back. You have Priyanka there, and Priyanka is a fantastic player who's really going to be one to watch out for, I think. And then the defense is solid because you have Dalima, you have Asha, you have Sweetie, and you can play Astam there as well, or Ranjana, whoever suits you. It is a team that has played together, and Manisha has been a part of this team before. So it's like I said, there are no great fancy experiments happening over here. I think it'll be a pretty straightforward squad or a team lineup that we'll see at least for this tournament. Maybe that might change in the future, in the very near future, but for this one, yeah, at least it's going to be pretty sure.
Actually, the big part is the form that these people are carrying in, right? Like we didn't have a form like Manisha before, a player in such a form who's scoring goals in Europe, which is what is a key factor. If we can utilize that her form and what Jyoti is doing in Europe, along with what we have the experience of Bala Devi and Dangmei, and so it looks to be like if we utilize our pros and in the players, the quality now that has improved. I feel having Manisha hasn't played out of position. She has been a winger even for a squad. The only time that she played as a number nine was in the last match where they actually made her the striker and she started playing into a central role, which again she was scoring. So she is giving assist as well as scoring from the wing. So this is something kind of a flexibility that Lenerby will enjoy going forward. That in one of his wingers could immediately convert to a striker. Then it makes more sense to have such players in the squad which can adapt to a game plan. Like you could play a tough team as in a defensive part for one half, and the second half you could have your attacking options to go forward. I mean, that kind of versatility Manisha offers now. to Tenerife. So I think that's one thing which we were missing, that how many players can play into versatile positions. But it's starting to slowly get organized in Indian football that there are players who are versatile and they can play into positions and when asked.
And I think uh, Manisha, like Shaggy said, she's such a smart player. She'll definitely get into positions where players like Indu and Bala, when they're playing, can exploit the spaces to put her through, because she's a fantastic finisher. I remember watching her last year, not this IWL, the previous IWL when she was with Gokulam. She could just go from anywhere. She's so good. So I think yeah, with her in the team, with Jyoti is a very powerful presence up front. She's got the speed, she's got the strength to really take on the defense. So it'll be interesting how Thomas really plays around with his front line, because he's got his options available there, and if they click, then yeah, they can be really really solid. But again, we're talking about playing against. I think we should just go out there and play without fear. That's what I told the girls when I met them last. I just said, go out there, enjoy yourself, have fun, because these are the experiences that really make you a proper elite player in any case. So don't think about the results so much. Just go out there and enjoy yourself, because these are tough teams, and we don't often play against tough teams.
This is exactly what we should do. Like Asian Games is something like, it's a preparation for Paris, right? Like next we are facing even more difficult teams in Japan, Iran, and we will be again be facing more tougher opposition in a month. So this is a good time for the players to get their bearings right in the national team, right? Solidify their
Yeah.
places, get into a mode wherein they know that what will be expected out of them in the next tournament, which is even more bigger than this.
I also wanted to quickly talk about the three goalkeepers that have been picked up for the tournament. I think it's safe to assume that Shreya will be the pick, like the top pick for going forward, right? At least in the first team.
I believe so. She started both the matches against Kyrgyzstan, which was literally our last international match way back in April. So it's Soumya, Panthoy, and Shreya.
And Shreya.
And amongst these three, but again, I think yeah, Shreya would probably start the matches. Let's see. I don't know. That'll come down to the coach's decision at the end of the day.
And any views on her evolution? Because after IWL and the nationals also, like her team and she herself also showed a lot of improvement after the IWL.
I think post the IWL, they did well to reach the finals of the NFC, and she played a very good role with Haryana over there. And she's been improving. She's playing hard. She works hard, and but again, I think one of the things that you might think that we've had a lot of competition very recently in the past, but we haven't had very strong competition um, for these girls to really test their mettle. And you need that kind of competition, which unfortunately did not happen for them to go into this tournament. So I think if she works hard and she keeps her focus, she's a good one. So let's see how she performs when she's given the chance.
Yeah, so I was watching her in the last Hero IWL. So I think it was unfortunate that Odisha lost on penalties to Gokulam. That was a close match, and it was again, it came down to goalkeeping heroics from the other goalkeeper. But it was a very good match, and I think it shown like she was getting ready for the bigger avenues that would greet her, right? So I think her progress, if you look at it, I've been watching him from last year. So it's a natural step that she finds herself in the national team. Nothing surprising for me. So I would see her start because that's what's been the course by NLB up till now. Would be surprised if she doesn't be the first person to be selected in the among the preferences.
So now we have two matches in the group stages: Chinese Taipei and Thailand. Um, who do you think is going to be the tougher opponent out of the two, and what can be expected? Any predictions? Any things that you think that we need to be careful of?
I'm not going to predictions and stuff. I'm really terrible at that. But I think Chinese Taipei will come with all guns blazing. They missed out on their World Cup qualification spot, losing to Paraguay. So they are, for them, they've been preparing very hard for the Asian Games. So they are higher ranked than us. I think it's going to be a very interesting match, but you can never count out Thailand as well because Thailand is just generally an Asian powerhouse when it comes to women's football. You have some fantastic players there, and I think it's both are going to be really difficult matches. It's just up to our girls to go out there and put up a fight and yeah, go for the win. I mean, they have to really. I mean, if you approach it with the fact that we are going to go there and win, rather than worry too much about the consequences, uh, you you at least end up putting up a very good show. I think the team has a lot of fighters. We've seen that from the IWL itself. We've seen them just generally throughout their careers. This team has a lot of fighters, which will help in overcoming tougher obstacles in bigger teams, as if you like Taiwan and sorry, Chinese Taipei uh, and Thailand. So they have good leaders in that team. Indus, the Asha is one of the best players. Even today, when I see Asha play, it's just a pleasure. She's such a good player and a good leader, and I think it's gonna come down to them and their performance on the day. If everybody is fine, if they're not having the health issues or any other issues, mentally they're in a strong place. Why not spring a couple of surprises and see where it takes them? Because like Shaggy said, this is preparation really for the bigger deal, which is the Olympic qualifiers. So I think I hope that these are much closer matches than we're used to seeing in the past. It's not going to be like the Kyrgyz matches and all. It's going to be much tougher for sure. With all due respect to Kyrgyzstan, for sure, but it's just going to be a lot more tougher for these girls as well to perform. And let's not. I mean, China is with all this traveling and then the very little amount of rest and the weather there and the climate and everything is so different. They've got to be very careful about their health. uh, this is something I talk about a lot, and you probably remember me complaining a lot during the IWL this year because those were just horrendous circumstances to play football in. It's going to be different over there. It's just going to be very difficult for them to be traveling so much, for the boys and the girls, actually, for both of them. So, as much rest as they can take, they need to do that and come out playing as best as they can. There's two matches, but they can, they go on to define a lot for the future.
This is a very interesting thing that it's come at this moment of time, which is kind of a good idea about how much we have progressed in women's football, right? Like it gives us a marker for Indian football fans to see, like, hey, I mean, we have given the necessary facilities and players this time around, bearing, of course, Manisha and Jyoti, who were playing for their clubs, but most of them were into longer camps. And we should see an uptick in our performance. I mean, or could be, at least we could say that, what are the areas that we need to improve when we face these teams. It will give us that idea. But definitely, as Randeep already went, Chinese Taipei, very close in the Asia Cup last time. It was a heartbreak for them that they missed out on qualification. They were leading 2-0. They conceded 2-0 and lost on a penalty shootout. So Chinese
Yeah.
Taipei was very, very emotional. I mean, they were literally in tears. Like you couldn't see that match anymore. I just saw the highlights, but it was that bad. Like, they were leading for them and they conceded 81 and 87 and then it went to penalties and then they lost out. So Chinese Taipei definitely. Thailand didn't do. Thailand, I think. So I feel they are like, the rankings are, how do I say it's been, it shows up in the way they are playing their football also, right? Like, so it needs to be measured that way. Even if I do compare them with rankings, I don't really think India is going to play like a 60th ranked team, where we are going to see an uptick in India's performance for sure. Only thing is to what levels is what we should see. Rankings are a little, how do I say, misnomers or false identifiers in these kind of competitions, and we need to see what kind of squads they are sending as well. That really, I don't have a clear idea right now, and it will be only during the game day that we'll come to know how each team is got prepped up. So we'll have to wait and watch for exactly how the opposition turns out. But I'm a little more optimistic towards India's performance, given that now we have a settled squad, a settled coach, and a settled pipeline of players, we should be seeing an uptick. We don't have the problems other than I think we should be addressing the quality, but that's a long-term issue that will eventually sort out as the players play more and more games. Because the Hero IWL was really not a tournament, in my opinion, to for the players to have any quality game time. I saw it then. For me, it's not a good domestic tournament to actually say that we can go and compete against top teams. So bearing that, I think eventually the Hero IWL will be a quality tournament going forward. So definitely that can help the national team also. So awaiting that, but from the kind of noises that have come from the camps, it looks people are happy, players are happy, coach is comfortable, and they look to be set in a positive mood to go out for the tournament, which is always a good sign.
In the morning, the team picture was put out, and it actually gave a very nice vibe. It just felt that things are just going to go upwards from here. Nothing can go bad. Thank you, touch wood. And and the squad also consists of some great names. I was making the list before the podcast, and I was really excited to see some of the names like Anju. I'm personally very biased towards Anju. Like, who are the players that you guys are most looking forward to watch, and who, in your opinion, can be the person to surprise us all?
See, for me, obviously the big names, Manisha and Jyoti are there, but I would love to see what Indumati does because she has been the kind of player that we are missing in men's football, the kind of AM, who gets us to the goals. She's doing really well. I would be love to watch her because she's in her, Anju Damang, and to how they play the midfield together because I think the attacking options are pretty quality. It comes down to how the midfield will be battled out, right? Like you would have probably Sangeeta was as a sitting DM, I don't know the exact formation what he will play depending on the opposition, but there seems to be a fair amount of competition for the midfield roles as well. So, I think Dangme is there. Then you have Indumati. Who am I going to make set out now? Like, right? So there are a couple of good bench strength that are going to develop because there of the clubs themselves have their own quality players inside the NT now. So definitely something which is like how these players from the different teams in Hero IWL come and play together at an NT level is something I would love to see. But definitely Indumati for me, along with Manisha and Jyoti, and for that matter, even Baladevi. I mean, she has been quite after her injury recovery, and she got some game time. But let's see, like how the camp has helped her as well, right?
For me, I don't know if Priyanka gets game time, she's gonna surprise us all. I think she's developing very quickly into a very sharp and smart player. Never mind the size. She's a very intelligent player. But yes, she's still developing. She needs to quicken her pace. She needs to take quicker decisions. So if she gets some game time, that'll be great. Astam is looking very sharp. And she's adjusting herself to different roles demanded of her. And then, of course, you have the players that I would love to see how Indu, because Indu brings so much to the game. Indu, Dangme, these are experienced players, and you should be excited about Anju because Anju is looking fantastic. So yeah, even I'm biased towards Anju, you know that. So the thing is that I think that way, at least in an attacking way, these are the players that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Dangme, of course, anytime, she's a class player, and in defense, I think Sweetie, she if she settles herself down into the game, then she can be very strong. Yeah, I think those are the ones. I'm biased towards all the girls in that team because I think every single one of them has the potential and the mindset to go out and play. And Carrie's coming back after a long injury. She's not had a fantastic year. Let's put it that way. Last year, so she'll want to probably prove a point or two, which I'd be interested to see if she's up for it. And I have watching Manisha and Jyoti make their way into the team and how they all come together. Yeah, it'll be exciting to see. But I'm really interested to see how Priyanka develops if she gets the game time. to play in that midfield. Sangeeta is, Sangeeta is Sangeeta. She can just manage the midfield really well. And Bala, I think if coach uses Bala properly, then Bala's magic. So even today, she and Indu together, or one or the other, can still create magic for the forwards, that whoever lines up to score the goals.
Before we end the podcast, if there's anything you guys think that we missed out on, or if you would like to add something.
If people are going to watch the Asian Games, then you might as well watch the under 17 team. That's also a team in development. Unfortunately, we don't have the live telecast. I don't have the details because AFCA doesn't seem to have a tie-up in Thailand for its broadcasting partner. But that is another cracker of a tournament. Seeing those people, because I've been watching the under 17 also. They've got there's some players who are really pretty good to watch right now itself. So that's a tournament which is actually happening just before the Asian Games starts, and it's mixed up with the Asian Games. And I think that squad is also traveling. So it'll be good fun to see how the junior as well as the senior national teams are performing.
Yeah, I don't know if they might show the matches on fan code. I'll have to check. Even I'm not sure about that. But if they
No,
do,
no, they don't.
then
They don't have a
yeah,
tie-up. In India, they have, but in for Thailand, I haven't seen any this thing.
yeah. So
So
probably not. But yes, that
yeah,
too is
yeah,
an exciting young
yeah.
team.
There's a tournament in Buriram. I'm
Buriram,
sorry, I
yeah.
got the wrong name, but I haven't seen
Buriram,
any
Buriram,
details.
yeah, Thailand.
If you have, like, please share. But as far as my knowledge goes, I couldn't find any details of that. The other group is happening in Vietnam. There, the telecast is done by the Vietnam Football Federation. That's clear. But the Thai Football Federation has not put any details of the broadcast. As far as I know, I mean, I could be wrong. One last thing. Thanks for having the Odisha FC women's team. It's such a good sight to watch them, and the way they took Gokulam, in the final, I mean quarterfinal, sorry, was a very treat for every football fan. I think I hope that this time it's going to be an eight teams, so it will be very fun to watch Odisha and few top four teams at least have a go at each other.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, I hope we put a competitive team out again this time, and let's see how far we go. So thank you for appreciating that. That's very kind.
Thank you so much, Randeep and Shaggy, for joining us today. Sending all the positive vibes in the world to both our men's and women's team, and the under 17 team. I hope that we all do really well, and let's keep showing our unconditional support to our teams. Please, thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Archana.
everyone.
Thanks,
Best of luck to
Shaggy.
all teams. Bye bye.
Yep.